and hello, welcome back to the C Morning Show. And now we will have a business talk related to microeconomics and specifically about the middle income group.
Yes, Kai, that's right. The middle income group is a term that is currently circulating frequently. However, what exactly is the middle income group, and can people within this group achieve financial freedom? So to get a comprehensive answer and a broader understanding, let's talk with certified financial advisor Lolita Setyawati. Good morning, Lolita.
Good morning.
Thank you so much
Karina.
for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
In the studio
Pleasure.
today. So just jumping straight into it, can you maybe start off by explaining what is the middle income group exactly, and why is it often considered to be a group that struggles to level up?
Okay. According to the Center of Statistics Agency, or BPS, the middle income group is a group of people who have expense per month in range of it's around 2 to 9 million rupiahs per month. So you can expect more than 9 million rupiah per month will be the high income group. But as you know, in the big cities such as in Jakarta, the living expense a month generally for a family is about 14 million rupiah, according to BPS also. So if you call it middle group class between 2 to 9 million rupiahs per month, then it will be like kind of struggle for them to stay in the big city, but maybe not in rural areas. And their difficulty to level up is usually because of the pandemic, and then limited position in job market, many layoffs, and then increases in living expense and also in consumption tax. So that's a big problem for the middle class.
Well, this is new to me that there's actually a specific, a specific income that, you put into groups statistically, of course. What is considered the income of a middle group, the middle group income people? Because you mentioned that above 9 million, it's already considered high income here.
Yes, according to the statistics.
According to the statistics. So which means that the middle group would be the minimum wage until the 9 million.
Yes, 2 to 9 million.
2 to 9 million.
Yes, below 2 million, it will be called aspiring middle income class.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And the low middle income, it will be around 800,000 rupiahs per month for
And what
living
is low
expense.
income?
The income, no, it's not the income, but it's stated by the living expense.
Okay, got it.
Yes. So if they spend for a month less than 800,000 rupiahs, it's called low class.
Oh,
low
so
middle
this
class.
statistic is based on their spending per month.
Yes.
Yes, okay,
Based on the
Not
income.
based on. It's a little bit
the
confusing.
income.
Get
Yeah,
it?
that's
Because
why, 'cause I
the
was
group
thinking.
says because the group says middle income group, but then it's measured based on the
Measured
spending.
based on the
Okay.
living
Expenses.
expense.
Because I think it's really important to put that into context before we continue.
Yeah.
And because it means that even if the income is 2 to 9 million, it doesn't necessarily mean, even if the expenditure is 2 to 9 million, it doesn't necessarily mean that their income is up to 9 million, right?
No, yes.
Yeah.
Now that is another
Yeah.
trouble for us. So is it actually possible for a middle income group to fall into the low income group as well?
It's very possible, very possible. So if you see the statistic again, I will speak according to statistic. Okay, middle income class in 2019, the proportion is about 21.45% of all population. But in 2023, it's going down into 17.44%. So as you can see, it's going down maybe because of the situation, pandemic, and so on, so on. And for the aspiring middle income class, which is lower than the middle income class, in 2019, the proportion is about 68%. And then in 2023, it's going up into 72%. So you can assume, right, that some of the middle income class is going down into aspiring middle income.
Right.
Aspiring middle income, yeah.
Now,
So it's kind of triggering, right?
very triggering. But just going back on the whole income and expense, Lolita. So 2 to 9 million is their expense.
Yes, correct.
What's the average income number for middle income
The average
group?
income. I could not find any in statistics.
Okay.
Yeah, but usually people with living expense around 2 to 9 million rupiahs per month, they have income just a little bit more of that living expense.
I see. So most of their income is going to expenses.
Yes, most of their income going to living expense.
Right.
Now, that is where the imbalance comes in.
Yes.
That is where you would usually be stuck there because you have, excuse me, lack of ability to save up or even, be able to invest to create financial freedom. Now, it is the goal of everybody, and this is the whole point of today's talk show, financial freedom. Is it possible for the middle income group to actually achieve financial freedom?
Okay, to achieve financial freedom, one must have income, passive income, which covers all of their basic living expense. So it is at the least they can do.
Okay.
The middle income people living in big cities, it could take a long way to go to get there, right? So, but perhaps it will be easier for people who live in rural areas. And most middle income people are struggling to make ends meet. And they're still burdened by financial security, not enough saving, no emergency funds. Thus, they are afraid to sudden, unexpected events. They're still afraid of that unexpected events like, disaster or a sickness or something like that might rob their income and then perhaps will take them down to low income class. So it's possible, but it requires a lot of work.
Right. And now we've been hearing a lot of frugal living. Is controlling their expenses or our expenses enough to help them achieve this economic freedom?
Frugal living actually it's a good method to start live according to your
Capability.
capability. So it's a good point that must have been started by all of people, all of the people, not only the middle income class actually. But for middle income class, it's not enough to meet financial freedom if they only do the frugal living only, because they should consider to leverage their income, their capacity to have higher income, so that they can save more and accumulate more productive assets to gain passive income. So I think frugal living only is not enough. They have to focus on leveraging their income first.
It certainly is interesting because you've mentioned the definition of financial freedom means that your expenses can be covered with a passive income, meaning whatever your income is, or you have such a big amount of income that it covers both the expenses and you have so much more to be able to work with and reinvest and things like that, right?
Sure.
So what other strategies should be considered to help the middle income group improve their situation to achieve economic freedom? And we've spoken about frugal living. It could be one way to help them, survive or get a head start, but how is that not sustainable in the long run? What other strategies should they consider?
Okay, for a frugal living method, it's okay, they can do it, but the first thing that they should do is learn new skill, especially new skill that add to their competency, so that they can compete with others, especially in this globalization market, right? And then get higher education if possible, and then gain broader network with other people, especially people who can lead them to more chances in the future. So they should focus on themselves first, because if we focus on, like policies and something that we cannot control, then we cannot get anywhere. So they have to focus to add more new skill. And then also equip themselves with financial literacy, so that their hard-earned money would add to their productive assets. And instead of disappeared into
Expenses.
and some consumptive products.
That's true. But speaking of focusing on themselves, for middle-income families with children, now when these children then grow up, can this situation be an extended parent's financial support, in your opinion, for the children?
Yeah, indeed. It's considering like something that would happen in the future, or maybe it's happening now, especially in the big city.
The sandwich generation.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard enough to be in the middle income group, and then you are a sandwich generation as well, which adds to the pressure, right? So, what does that?
So I think for the thing happening right now in big cities, due to higher living expense, many young adults opt to live with their parents.
Yeah.
Well, although they have already solid income. So this is the reason why they want to be able to do that, because they want to save more as well as to enjoy the lifestyle that they wanted. They cannot enjoy it if they, live separately with their parents. And this situation could lead to struggling retired parents in the future. They will have to forced to spend more money from their retirement funds to support their children. So it's concerned in that way, not about the sandwich generation, but it's about the old generation who have to support the younger
So
children.
it's not about the children having to support the parents, but this is the other way around.
So there's two sides.
Yeah.
It's happening right now.
Yeah.
Maybe now we only heard about sandwich generation.
Exactly.
Yes,
We've
the
never really
generation-
heard this other
True.
part. Yeah.
This generation who have to support their children and also their parents or maybe other relative. But on the other hand, there's also something that we have to concern about is that old people who have to support the youngest one.
I mean, it is a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because I think the ability from the previous generations to be able to have productive assets are not the same capabilities that the children of these generation have as a majority. So, what do you say? What else do we need to prepare ourselves with? Because the hardest part is when you're already there. I think. Other than the efforts and things like that we got to do, is there anything else that can be done for us to be able to, to strategize to get out of this situation? At least be able to save up the emergency funds and things like that. I mean, frugal living is one thing, but you have to have financial literacy. Could you remind us all, like, what are the correct proportions for people to how much should we spend out of our income ideally, and how much should we save for our income ideally?
Okay.
I think it's very important to note that again.
True, yeah. Actually, it's a big change in the people right now, big change of sandwich generation that it's never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
Yes, from years to years, it's also happening. And it will happen again, maybe in 20 or 30 years, it will still happen. So right now, it's about 47% of millennials who are sandwich generation. And the number will not decrease.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also around 40 to 50% of all population. So we have to cut this change on this cycle. And if we speak about how much the proportion of our income that we should spend for this and that, actually, if we talk about proportion in financial planning, it's not a good decision actually, because for the person who is not who has no budget, who has no budget ability yet, they can start from this proportion. Maybe you have learned the 50, 30, 20%, 50 for living expense, and then 30% for wants and 20% for investment. Well, for the starter or the first-timer budgeter, they can do this. But for other person who maybe struggle to escape from the middle income class, I think they have to focus more on adding more investment portion on their income.
Investment portion on their income.
Yes, in order so they can cut this chain of sandwich generation.
You're investing for the long run.
True.
Yeah.
But as you know, they still struggle in making them end meet, so they have to focus more on financial security first. So first thing to do is to have financial security.
Okay.
Right.
Emergency fund, insurance, especially health insurance, and have their income higher than their expense.
Yeah. It's
So
very
that's the first financial security. And after they have that security, then they can go more by adding their investment into their budget.
Wow, good advice.
I mean, because financial security first, because then you have secured the emergency funds and things like that. And once the emergency fund is big enough, it can stay there, and then you can start with the investment proportion.
Exactly.
Yeah,
well,
you have to get the picture right first. Right?
Yeah, the steps right.
Complicated and difficult. Yeah.
You don't have to have the ideal emergency fund. Maybe you can have for 2 or 3 months first, and then start to
baby
do
steps.
investment. Baby steps, correct.
Thank you so much, Lolita Setyawati, for joining us today and sharing us about achieving economic freedom for people in middle income group. All right, folks, with that being said, we're now taking a break, but when we return, we'll have updates from around Southeast Asia. Don't go anywhere just yet. We'll be right back.